Good. Good morning, everyone. How are you today? Good. So we are at the fag end of our course, GAN course, on environmental performance of manufacturing system, okay, modeling and its application. What we will do today for 15-20 minutes, we'll try to recap our takeaway. Okay, just take a deep breath, close your eyes, and try to really think of what have you learned. What is your takeaway points? Instead of writing 3 points that you are used to, I will tell that while I present the summary of our takeaway, try to reflect, okay, and keep noting down few points. And while you make your final presentation, consider those points. Okay. So, our objective was to learn about environmental management system, okay, within a manufacturing setup. So, we learned supply chain should be the consideration. Okay. It is not only the individual company. We need to really think of entire supply chain. That is our first learning. And the supply chain is the major paradigm shift from considering one company. Okay. So, any company, small and medium sized company, or the original equipment manufacturer, public sector unit, whatever sustainability analysis you are undertaking, you need to really think of their supply chain. And what is supply chain? Supply chain comprises of supplier, internal operation, as well as the customers. So, a typical example, we picked up a carpet manufacturing company. We understand the raw material, we understand the process through which the raw material are processed, and we get the finished product. This is the forward logistics. And we learn top of that the reverse logistics, how we handle the waste all across the processes, and try to really make supply chain enter circular. That is our first takeaway. So, quickly reflecting a typical supply chain for a carpet manufacturer. Okay. At the upstream, you have all the suppliers, okay, related to all the raw materials for the finished product, and a make or buy decision any manufacturing company needs to really do. So, accordingly they develop the procurement cycle, and then you have all the inbound logistics to get into these raw material into your premise and process them, okay, manufacture the finished product, have quality management, undertake every aspect of the adding value to the end product, and it goes to customers, various type of customers, and you are constantly dynamically managing their requirement. So, that is the typical forward logistics. Okay. So, what we learn to start with, how do we develop synergy between demand and supply? That is the first principle of sustainability, achieving the economic performance. Okay. So, how do we really do it in a very much using supply chain philosophy? We try to really balance between competitive strategy and supply chain strategy. So, we learned our first step of doing it is mapping the supply chain. Okay. We must understand how the materials are flowing, how the informations are being managed across the supply chain, okay, how the money is being really translated or transferred across the supply chain stakeholders. So, accordingly we try to understand various issues and challenges across the supply chain, okay, from the company's perspective, from every stakeholder's perspective, we try to really understand it, and we ultimately find out various operational gaps. Okay. Say as for example, in the procurement side you find that in order to have a scale economy you have huge inventory. Okay, that is an issue. you are keeping your money block. Okay. Again, in the demand side, you are, in order to satisfy the customers, you are keeping huge finished product inventory. So, that is also another issues, challenges. So, you need to really identify those bottlenecks within the supply chain. Okay. So, these are operational gap, and here you have learned competitive strategies and supply chain strategy. Competitive strategies comprises of all the actions that you set up, keeping customers in your mind, customers requirement in your mind. And so, we have learned that you have to really keep understanding the combination of specification of the product plus customers requirement, and together we try to determine implied demand uncertainties of the product with respect to quality, with respect to various customers requirement like delivery time, rate of innovation they are asking for, returnability, etc., depending on the product. And in the other side you have supply chain strategies. Okay. The way you are trying to satisfy the customer. So, we understood that we have to make a right trade off between efficiency and responsiveness. Responsiveness is customer's requirement and the efficiency is related to cost of making this product available as per the customer requirement. So, we try to find out where our supply chain is. Supply chain comprises of distribution, production, okay, marketing, design, everything you do it in the upstream including procurement. So, we try to really see that the synergy between competitive strategy and supply chain strategy, which is nothing but demand and supply, and we try to see that the strategic gap. Okay. What is that strategic gap? And you remember that you had issues and challenges from the operational perspective, you have now strategic gap. You try to really make a relationship between these two, which will get you the causal relationship of all the variables within the system. Okay. Make sense? So, once you understand that, then you are in a better position to really get the solution. So, how is it so? You try to really look into their causal relationship. So, how is, as for example, how is raw material inventory or the finished product inventory or capacity non-utilization, okay, a product quality affect your performance, okay, your business growth, your profitability, your productivity. And how we analyze it? By looking into right trade off between efficiency and responsiveness across these 6 drivers, okay, facility, transportation, inventory, information, sourcing and pricing in different level, strategic level, tactical or planning level and the operational level. So, if you could model that, then it gives you a very good economic performance measurement model using supply chain principle, and that is within the sustainability framework, because economic performance is part of sustainability performance. So, you could include environmental and social aspect, which is other aspect of sustainability, as a third dimension, okay, or you could consider that one of the responsiveness of the customers, which is coming through either customers or policymakers through legislation. You could package it. So, this model could be really used as a sustainability performance measurement model as well, not the only economic performance measurement model. Makes sense? This is our first learning, perhaps day 1 we covered it. Okay, let us move on. Some interesting understanding. In order to get into the holistic sustainability performance measurement model, we must consider alongside the forward logistics, reverse logistics. That's what we learned, isn't it? Okay. So, a typical example of closed loop supply chain is this, and it is product wise. So, similarly, this is an example of the cloth manufacturing. We could consider any product, any services, product services, in that form, and we must do that. Okay. In sustainability, first principle is it should be zero waste. Okay. So, forward logistics and reverse logistics should merge together for each product, for each company, for each economic activity. Okay. That is the thing we learn. So, in order to understand it and bringing solution to it, not only we need to map the supply chain, but also we need to understand that how do we make a diagnostics that what is going on, and could we identify the flaws, problem, issues, challenges, then only we would be able to really solve it. So, we need analytical tool to deal with it. So, people from operation research, industrial engineering, and I would say all scientific and technical background, we must be able to really model that. So, that is the modeling we learned subsequently using sustainability performance measurement model. Okay. So, let us look into in a bit holistic way manufacturing system. So, system means it has input, it has output, and it has processes. So, inputs are typical resources, infrastructure, okay, material, human resource, utility, etc., etc. We need to really identify them very clearly, very objectively as well, how much resources we are putting it. Some of the resources we need to really think of in a very strategic level. While you start your business, you have seen that you need to really have a specific resources for a specific type of system. Then there would be typical processes, a value chain. It starts from understanding the customer's requirement, which is all the marketing effort, design, okay, planning, control, manufacturing, logistics, etc., warehousing, again marketing is a closed loop value chain. Okay. So, depending on the manufacturing system, depending on the product, depending on your policy, things will change, but theory remains. The value chain would be like this, through which you are converting your raw material to the finished product. Now, at the output part of it, you can look into in a very much sustainability dimension, economic, environmental and social part of it, and typically you will have definitely throughput, that means quantity of product and services you are producing. Then you will have, you can have output in a bit hierarchical way in terms of inventory, capacity utilization, how much error you are having, how much waste you generate, and that in one level, and at the next level you can have throughput, productivity, and that it depends on you. I have kept in one level. So, similarly in the environmental part you could really consider carbon footprint, which is measurable, okay, or it could be quantity of waste in a specific process you do it. It depends again, it would be specific to specific company. Okay. Mainly in the environmental part, we try to really understand the energy consumption, we try to really understand the resource efficiency, we try to look for that how much waste we are generating, how much recycling we are doing, how much reusing happening, that sort of things. Okay. And typically in the social performance, we try to really look into job creation, how much money you are investing in the corporate social responsibility, okay, how much reduction in accident and you could really take up, safety and all, how much new project has been implemented for the well-being of the people. That could be a strong measurable parameters through which you would be able to say, okay, that is our social performance. So, that is our understanding. Okay. And there are various enablers over the period we have looked into. You have worked with lean and green. Okay. These are all the principle or philosophy through which sustainability could be achieved. Okay. And again lean and green has a commonality, and but they might be a bit of contradictory philosophy. Okay. Lean emphasize on the efficiency, green emphasize on the environmental responsiveness. It could be expensive also sometime. So, these are the philosophy that helps achieving sustainability. Various tools and technique, various standard process ISO 14000, SA 8000, they help you to achieve the standardized thing. Okay. technology as for example, ERP, Industry 4.0, one of you are working in Industry 4.0. Okay, how Industry 4.0 can help you achieving sustainability. IoT is coming in a big way, blockchain is coming in big way to develop trust across the stakeholders among the across the stakeholder. So there are various ways, methods, measures through which you could achieve sustainability. So this is a basic model through which you could understand your system and develop a framework, analyze it, and even you can bring solution. Okay. I haven't really mentioned about mathematical modeling yet, but if you look closely, you will find that you need a mathematical base in order to really get the objective measure like carbon footprint. You must know that how do you calculate carbon footprint. Okay. I have mentioned about 6 sigma here. If it is 6 sigma, we need to really get the objective parameter like 3.4 million defect per opportunity you have to achieve, and where are you in terms of this defect, okay, which will help you to achieve both economic, social and environmental performance. So it could be really model. So if you look into this model, that will give you more thoughts on how to model my company to achieve sustainability. Okay. Another model we discuss about this is mainly this balanced scorecard based method, where you try to really look into how organizational learning, which is a bit of organizational commitment, that helped you to achieve sustainability through eco design and green supply chain process, social practices, and ultimately the sustainability performance, which is a combination of economic, environmental and social part of it. Okay. So we have various subconstruct which we have formulated. So again, it has come from the basic principle of balanced scorecard, okay, and then just converting those construct to the environmental parameter, but it is quite holistic as well and being used by many companies across the world. So one upcoming thought is analyzing the entire sustainability using very objective carbon footprint measurement, okay, because 3 aspects of industrial activities. One is handling resources, okay. The other thing is energy consumption, okay, and waste across the process. If you can objectively measure that, it could be converted to equivalent CO2 emission. Okay, when you get the CO2 emission of a particular process, product, system, supply chain, organization, then you are in a easier way to say that how much reduction you will be making it. Say you are targeting 10 ton of reduction in a year, and I will give you a perspectives. 10 ton means planting 30 trees, okay, quite acceptable equivalent. So if you are targeting that, then you need to find out that means of achieving those. So that would be enabler. You need to really find the business model for this. Okay. So there will be cost, but there will be benefit also. So benefit should be more than cost. So business model means you need to really get payback period, return on investment, and that, and then you implement that. When you implement it, you see the benefits. A benefit may not be as you asked for or worked to keep in target, but it could be more sometime. Then you would be elated if you can really achieve more than desired, but you would be a bit frustrated if it is lower. Then you need to really take further action. So it's a closed loop decision making. So we learned that, and this model again closed loop supply chain, it covers objectively suppliers, inbound logistics, production, outbound logistics, as well as customers. So at least one tier backward forward within the supply chain, you can manage the carbon footprint, and quite objective, and it is happening. Now, if the companies are not in a position to achieve that desired carbon footprint reduction, they have to offset it by paying money for corporate social responsibility, and it is happening across the world and within India as well. So many public sector units are those who are in the power industry. If they are not able to really produce power from the renewable sources, okay, they have to really do corporate social responsibility by investing money in various societal projects, including constructing new schools, okay, road, etc., etc. Okay. So, the one of the interesting model that we learned is how we capture all the variables within a manufacturing system that has a causal relationship, so as to develop, understand company wise or the group of companies within the region, that how are they doing in terms of their sustainability performance, what affects more. So, a holistic model like this would be of help. On your left you have all the resources, we discuss about what is resources in manufacturing system, and at the middle part of the model you have all the variables that are quite objective. Okay. So, in terms of the production, in terms of the distribution, in terms of how you develop relationship with the customers, and in terms of the procurement as well. Okay. So, the factors that we have picked up, like cycle time, then the inventory, okay, production error, maintenance, performance, they are quite objective in terms of the production part of it. Okay. The supplier, long term relationship with the supplier, similarly long term relationship with the customers, how much product comes back to your system, these are the things could be considered in the demand side. So, but it's not the complete list that you should consider, it's they are the examples that you must really consider. Okay. But if you have a measurable parameter even in the upstream, you are better off. Okay. But if you have a subjective things, you can have the experience from the people, but you have to be very, very careful while you collate the experience. Okay. Experience, trustworthiness, and auditing the document could be the way forward. Okay. Otherwise, you might be getting the wrong information, which will your calculation, your findings should not be really correct. Okay. So, you can well see that in the next level you have different performance, okay, which are again objective, but ultimately you are quite objective through business performance, okay, economic performance, as for example profit, return on investment, cash flow, cost, okay, and ultimate revenue. So, that sort of thing. So, you can develop a smaller model, or depending on what criteria you like to really look at. So, say as for example, if your manufacturing setup, if you could reduce your maintenance time, okay, if you can reduce your or increase your machines uptime, then what is the impact of your performance, you can check it. You can use a statistical method to find that out. Okay. So, the underpinning of this model is to really get there. So, once you understand all the variables, dependent or independent variable within a system, you are in a position to model basic causes of your performance, okay, what affects more, or in the other way, what is the most daunting issue that you need to really address, you could get there. Okay. We learned about circular economy. Circular economy is an integrated system. What we are looking at maybe earlier, more individual manufacturing system or the process or anywhere in a smaller system, but if we like to really integrate it across the society, we get the circular economy things, and we discussed that it is in the different level. Okay. So, some of you asked me that what is the difference between circular economy and the sustainability performance measurement model. I think this is this difference between these two. Okay. So, it could be really applied in a specific system, and even it could be applied in an integrated system. So, that is why circular economy having a higher weightage than the individual sustainability performance measurement model, but this could be really utilized in the similar principle. Okay. So, the main principle of circular economy is moving from linear economy to circular. Linear is make, use and dispose, forward logistics. When you integrate that with the reverse logistics, you get the circular economy. So, we say it is a combination of the take, make, distribute, use and recover, and we can have different subconstruct to not only understand that how those construct and subconstruct affects your sustainability, performance, economic, environment and social part of it. So, if you analyze it, you know exactly where to emphasize, you know exactly how do you really do that, you get the right measures very objectively. One thing you have to really keep in mind, that you have to really do in a very dynamic way. Okay. Now, if we look into, if we come out from the manufacturing system and look the problem in a bit region perspective, country perspective or city perspective, then we need to really think of, along with the productive unit, the how do we really handle the waste. Okay. So, we learned about waste management, but waste management from the perspective of how we convert waste to value added product. And we discuss about a specific project where the waste straw in northern part of India is being transformed to value added energy. Okay. And the beauty of or the importance of the waste management, okay, biomass waste management, is you can get rid of the waste and you get value added product like energy. Okay. So, it has double impact, double positive impact. So, in a circular economic framework, we must emphasize on it. So, we should not consider waste as a waste, we need to really think of waste as resource and how do we utilize that. So, here is an example through technology, pyroformer, we converted raw straw and wheat and the rice straw to oil, gas and char, okay, which could really give us energy. Okay. And we developed or implemented a mobile unit which has helped us to reduce or completely stop stubble burning in few villages, and we are still working to really make it available to others, and we are looking for the business model, and the pilot project has a business model, we discussed that, and within 4 to 5 years we can get the payback, okay, on our investment, which is quite hefty, but it has been done on the basis of the imported unit. So, if we could really manufacture it indigenously, the cost could be further reduced. So, we have seen that, but this is one example, but similar things could be really innovated within the system. Industry, NGOs must come forward to really find out, and they are doing it, and there are many social entrepreneur or enterprises are being formed to help in that way. So, you will see that all the social enterprises have 3 dimensions very prominent: economic, environmental and social. But at the end you have to really keep in mind, you have to have a business model. So, business model means you need to really understand cost, okay, not only capital cost, but also operating cost, contingency, risk, etc., and then look into all the economic outcome, okay. Whether there is a customer, there should be a customer. So, they pay you back in any form, okay. It may be monetary form or in the qualitative way. You need to really model it and say that what is the return on investment. Then only all the technological innovation which is really made for the societal benefit, they will exist, otherwise they will die off. Okay. That is the important part. Municipal solid waste handling is a very daunting issue, okay. Not only in the emerging economy, every economy, and we produce huge waste, but again waste as a wealth, and we need to really think of how do we really do it. So, we need to really model it from a supply chain perspective, and this is a typical supply chain. Okay. When we make the supply chain in one way, we standardize it and we understand issues and challenges, and we deal with that, and we found in handling municipal solid waste, at the root we have a problem of segregating the waste. So, if we solve that part of it, many problems will be resolved, and then we need to really think of the whether it is technologically feasible, what technology, conversion technology we are using it. It depends on the quality of the waste. So, we need to have a proof of concept of the waste of different part of the state or the region across India, okay, and understand the technical feasibilities of it, try to really think of scalability, and then we pick up the financial as well as environmental and social part of it, and we have to keep in mind the term NIMBY and how do you really solve this NIMBY. Okay? NIMBY is very important aspect. What is NIMBY stand for? Very good. Okay? Not in my backyard. So, if we can really resolve that, then we have waste to energy project on, and we need to really have it. Okay? There is no other alternative. So, we learned that. So, how do we really wrap up or conclude our learning? Okay? So, adoption of sustainability, addressing the climate change issues, okay, carbon footprint reduction, adopting circular economy is possible. It is not that it is not possible. Okay. We need to really wish for achieving that, and we need to really have an integrated society. All the stakeholders should work together to make it happen, and one should help each other, because if we everything give it to the business people, they will not be able to economically sustain. Then there would be nothing, no carbon footprint. We go back to the thing, we will not have anything. So, we need to really promote economic activities in a sustainable way, and then that is why we need to really work together. So, that is the first part of it. So, considering supply chain means integrating all the activities across the supply chain, and there are many stakeholders and they have different objectives. So, unifying the goal of all the stakeholders, that is the first thing we need to really keep in mind. So, consider supply chain, look into strategic fit, consider forward logistics, supply chain together, go for sustainability performance measurement model, diagnostics, understanding all the variable, implement it very objectively. Okay. If you are not using a sophisticated system, there should be a conceptual base within your system. You understand all the variables. It is not rocket science. Every businessman, they don't require to really be highly educated like you. They still can really understand the variables and that, and they should be able to communicate, and it should be very much objective as well as dynamic, because business environment is constantly, you have done now, but you have left for another 5 years, things will not really work. It should be very constantly, dynamically should carry on. It is not I am saying that every 15 days or every month, and that you decide that what would be, when do you like to review it. So, that is the important part of it. Okay. So, industry consortium, okay, a particular region, individual SMEs, original equipment manufacturer, public sector unit, they all, and the policy maker, government, okay, have a major role to play. Okay. They have their own role, and they must identify that, understand and deliver it. That is very, very important. Otherwise, you do talk, nothing happen. Okay. So, that needs to be really keep in mind. Last but not the least, we are all researcher. We have a very, very strong role to really play. We are neutral. We want to really improve the society. So, we need to communicate. We need not to only concentrate on writing paper for the sake of getting promotion in the academic ladder. We need to really do a very, very practical project, okay, which could be translated to the practice very quickly. So, we need to find out the way forward depending on the system. How do we really do it? We need to find out the way forward. We need to communicate to them, and we need to really talk to our local industry, local society, entrepreneur, enterprises, and within our student we could really communicate that, and in order to enhance their entrepreneurial ability. So, I am really glad that you have concentrated on the discussion that we had in last couple of days, and we hope that, I wish you all the best in your future endeavor, keeping that in mind. Okay. Thank you very much for your attention. Thank you. Okay. So, what you do now, you start working on your project, go back.
Okay, good afternoon everyone. I am Mitra Barun Ghosh. I am a research scholar from Binod Gupta School of Management, IIT Kharagpur, and this is a presentation on sustainable supply chain management, and we have taken a case, a real life case of a paper industry, and this presentation has been jointly made by me as well as my research colleagues Kriti, Devashish and Dr. Abhishek Kumar, who is from BIT Misra. So, the company we have taken here is the Seema Paper Industries Private Limited, that is in Raigad, that is in between the border of Odisha and Chhattisgarh, and it produces papers for different purposes that can be used in schools as well as in different academic institutions, and that is the supply chain of Seema Paper Industries Limited. You can see that the end customers are the 150 institutions. The institutions are academic institutions obviously, and they distribute it through 350 almost, it is an approximation of distributors and the retail chains. So, they believe in the concepts of convenience stores. There is almost no presence of their exercise books and their end products in the departmental stores. So, some repeat orders they are also taking, and they sell through distributor, as I have already mentioned. So, they procured their material from their one of their internal supplier. That internal supplier is their Shakti Pulp and Papers Limited, that is their own paper mill, and they design the product and produce the product obviously, and they have established a long term relationship with it, which signifies that this industry Shakti Pulp and Papers Limited was indeed an independent supplier a few years ago, and they opt for a backward integration and just took control of it to reduce the manufacturing cost and ease the process. Now, the third one is this products. They have a multitude of products like this, you can see that Peacock brand exercise book, that is very famous in Odisha. I have came to know it from some of my Odisha colleagues, and spiral notebook, tight bound notebook, soft bound book, subject notebook, writing pad, cash memo, duplicate books, all they prepare, and obviously large scale of papers in Dasta papers format they are also selling. So, they have quite a bit good infrastructure in their facilities in Raigad. So, 30,000 square feet of areas, high speed ruling machinery, all auto binding equipment, post process equipment, as you can see that, register making equipment, spiral notebook making equipment, all these are available in their premises. And the raw material procurement is done from reputed mills. So, actually their manufacturing unit, so I have already said that they are about backward integration with one of their suppliers. So, their cover procurement from Shivakashi, that is based there, and production process is comprises of these following steps, these 5 steps that is mentioned there, that in-house ruling is there, binding of notebook they have done, manual binding, as you can see in that picture, that manual binding they have done extensively, cutting and finishing, quality appraisal, they have a dedicated quality control team, and carton packing and shrink wrapping, these things they will also do in their production process. Distribution, 4 distribution centers are there. Okay. So, the 4 this is a map that is taken from Google Maps, and this is the distance. We have measured the straight line distance, air to air distance from there, not the road distance. So, the 4 distribution centers are more in Gaya, Raipur, Sambalpur and Ranchi. So, the Gayas and Ranchi they can be easily used to serve West Bengal and UP, Uttar Pradesh customers, as well as the Raipur that can be facilitated in serving the customers based in Mumbai as well as in Andhra Pradesh, Telangana obviously. So, these are the distance present. So, as we can already see that 580 kilometers, which is obviously shorter than the dedicated road distance, that is in between them Raigad and Gaya, that distance they have to travel to deliver their papers there, that the warehouse presented down there, but still they are successfully doing it. So, they are quite successful industry. And end customer, the domestic distribution network, institutional sales, school, they provide their papers primarily in the schools, government schools, and through retail chains, convenience stores, they also sell their products. Peacock brand is very popular in there. So, their retail chain strategy is quite successful. So, in case of strategic fit, this is the classical diagram of strategic fit, that we can see that that is the dot mentioned in the zone of strategic fit. The dot is that the firm falls in there. So, here they are keeping a large inventory in their factory premises as well as in their 4 warehouses out there in Jharkhand, Bihar as well as in Chhattisgarh. Okay. So, this large inventory means they are pushing the product, that is a material requirement planning kind of strategy they are opting for, And due to this pushing of the product, they are a very efficient supply chain, and they have determined the demand quite successfully, because they are not targeting the new customers, they are targeting only some schools as well as the down bottom of the pyramid customers through their retail chains. That is why they will follow in the zone of strategic fit, but one thing is for sure, this certainty of the demand can be changed if some other paper mills has been introduced, or some other competitor has introduced the same kind of product, or a product of a very good quality in the same price, then probably they will be gone. So, they will be gone. So, this is just they are fitting in the zone of strategic fit as of now. This is the present scenario. So, paper production utilizes nearly 40% of world's economic cut timber, and 1 ton of printing or copier paper saves slightly more than 2 tons of wood. So, these are the economic aspects and sustainability aspects that I am trying to mention. Now, we will be moving to the closed loop supply chain. Here, first of all, the new product, whatever the paper they are producing, they distribute it through their retail chain, as I have already mentioned, through their warehouses in different parts. Then collection of the used product. This collection has been done from the school itself. Schools have, and they encourage, and they should encourage the school going students as well as the colleagues, faculties they are working there to return back their used products as well as their unused products that are stored to them, so that they can recycle and produce further new products, because this is a highly recyclable product, as well as some defective products that are being manufactured down there. So, that can also be recycled to produce some new products. So, this is the life cycle of the recycled paper. So, it starts from the bottom corner, that is the paper manufacturing, the fibers are recycled, refining and coating has been done. Then the recycled paper and the printing of the final product. Why it is called recycling paper? Because the recycling also is done simultaneously. So, collection is paper after use, the collection of the used paper as well as the unused paper is the manufacturing of the recycling of the pulp is going on there. So, this process of recycling as well as remanufacturing as well as manufacturing of new products has been doing simultaneously. So, these are a concurrent manufacturing process. These are the critical success factors, that is why they are in the zone of strategic fit. First of all is the location. As you can see from the previous diagram, only one distance, that is the Gaya to Raigad distance is 580 kilometers, rest are all below 200, that is one of the best location they have. One of the second thing is that the one own paper mill named Shakti Power and Papers Limited, they have opted for backward integration of the suppliers, they have their own supplier network, that is why they can reduce their manufacturing cost, control their supply as and when the seasonality of demand occurs. Third one is the variety of products, they have a plenty of varieties, as the thumbnails in the previous slides that can already show you. Quick response to the customer, obviously they are very responsive, that is why their product is so successful, and high quality and competitive price. Because of their backward integration strategy, because of their closed supply chain, because of their close collaboration with the retailers, long term relationship they have already established, because this is a very long term company, it is almost operating for 50 years or so. So, they can produce a cost leadership strategy, competitive price, and their product is also of high quality, that is being desired by the institutions. But some issues are also there, like competition that can arise. Competition is already arising. For example, the Gaya based plant, the warehouse they were presenting, that is primarily used to serve the North India, but in North India, one of the paper mill, Ballarpur Paper Mills Limited, that has been quite successful. So, they have a direct competition with them, unless and until they produce more of it, more varied product, more variety of their different quality products, they can be out of the competition. Probably they are fitting in the strategic fit right now, but in the course of time they can be gone. And the reverse logistics, obviously these are their challenges. So, the recycled products that can be used in many ways, like paper towels, greeting card, cardboard, toilet papers, they can be used in many ways. And this is a circular economic concept. So, you can see that after making the paper, they distribute it to the warehouses, 4 warehouses, they use spreading awareness, we can spread awareness for reusing the products, because people often throw their used papers in form of their notebooks outside. So, we can encourage them that you can provide us your notebooks, and so that after delivering some dedicated quantity of notebooks, we can give you some incentives or some personalized benefits. And then we recover the products. So, collection of the used products, and the cycle goes on through the dedicated supplier, where the storage is also taking place. So, the sustainable performance is defined here through economic, environmental and social performance. So, economic performance in terms of the low cost, that is obviously present, volume of the business, they are producing in high volumes, recycling of the paper is less energy consuming, and environmental performance, reducing the waste paper from occupying landfill and producing methane, and saving trees from being cut down. So, these are the environmental performance aspects that can be looked into, and the social performance, obviously their job creation and women empowerment, workforce always encouraged in there. So, this conclusion is the supply chain is economically sustainable as of now. They fall in the zone of strategic fit, and recycling of the used papers should be encouraged in the bottom of the pyramid. In the customers they are using it, end customers, in the school going people they are using, the students they are using it, they should be encouraged to return back their used paper, so that can be recycled further, and this recycling can be done in a very efficient manner. So, thank you all for my presentation.
Thank you. So, next presentation please. There.
Good morning to all of you. I am going to today present the one of project works during this workshop. So, the project on I am going to present on supply chain of aluminum foil containers, and my team members like Jagdish, Gulab, Sarita, and I am Ramesh and Pullop. So, I am Ramesh Kumar. I am the research scholar in National Institute of Industrial Engineering, Mumbai. So, my outlines of the presentation is project presentation is introduction about the company, supply chain networks, how the company supply chain we are producing, the supply chain characteristics, supply chain drivers, supply chain competitive strategies, closed loop supply chain networks, supply chain performance, manufacturing system frameworks for sustainability performance, circular economy perspective. We try to see our company with respect to circular economy perspective. So, first of all I am coming about the introduction. So, my name of the company is Tyler's Aluminum Foil Container Manufacturing Company, and this is located in the Vijayanagaram near to Visakhapatnam, and this is a type of the small scale company, and there are approximately 8 to 10 number of employee here, and we are working hour is 8 hours in a normal day. And the raw materials we have uses for these products at the aluminum foils and food grade with the thickness of 0.3 to 1.3 mm, and machinery basically uses for the single cavity aluminum foil container manufacturing with the 4 types of die. So, our next presentation, this is the awarding the raw materials. So, basically we have used the raw materials, there are 2 types of basically raw materials we have needed. One is the aluminum foil food grades, and the second one is the papers. So, basically this is a card types of papers. So, 2 types of raw material needed for these products, and there are the types of products we have used there are multi products supply chain. So, there are 4 types of beer product used, 200 ml, 450 ml, 600 and 750 ml. So, these are the 4 types of our products. So, now we are coming on the supply chain networks. So, how our our products is going through the from manufacturer, from supplier to the end customer. So, where we are thinking there are 3 types of 5 types of supplier here, and these are single manufacturing plants, and there are 4 districts in Vijayawada. So, we have used the 4 distribution center, and then there are the 6 retailers, and these are the customers. So, different customers at the end of it's going the product. Now, see the supply chain network design perspective. So, we have defined the supply chain structures with respect to this network. So, this is the multiple suppliers, single manufacturers, multiple distribution center, multiple retailers and multiple customers. If you talking about the decision level, so this is the tactical and planning decision level, because These types of decision will be for the approximately 6 months for we are planning for this, and this is the product is the multi product, because we have used that there are 4 types of product here, and we talk about the stages. This is the multi stages. So, here we have used that there are 5 stages, and the types of supply chains is the push types of supply chains, and the demand is deterministic. And talk about the supply chain drivers. So, we have converted into the 4 to 5 types of supply chain drivers. Is perspective of facilities, though we have talking about the plant size, plant locations, resource utilization, optimum number of machines, production process and production layout. In talking about the inventory, so basically inventory, there are 3 types of inventory we have maintained here. Raw material inventory, work in process inventory, and the finished goods inventory. But basically we have focused on the raw material inventory, because this our product we are producing in Visakhapatnam, the raw material is coming from the Gujarat. So, it is very so raw material inventory, we have mostly focused on raw material inventory. Second one is the reorder points, where at which times we have ordered to the for the raw materials, and third one is the buffer stocks, how much we have stocks we have for to maintain our demand. Now, we are talking about the transportation. So, basically outbound and inbound transportation we have talking about. So, we have again focused more on outbound transportation, because this is the daily use product. So, we have focused different level of stages going for the uses, and we have also used the third party logistics, because as I initially we are not able to everything do by on self. So, we have hired to third party logistics for the transportation of products. IT we are trying to ERP system in our company, and the pricing is the nominal price, and their price is around 1.45 rupees per container of 200 ml. Now, we are talking about the supply chain competitiveness. So, supply chain competitive strategies we have classified into 2 types: specification of products and demand of the customers. So, specification of product we are trying for the eco-friendly products, and the product is the food grade aluminum foils, and their thickness is specified 0.3 to 1.3 mm, and these types of product is a non-hazardous materials. If talking about the demand of customers, so we have generated on the historical data, and on the basis of historical data we create the demands, and we have also forecasting it. So, now we coming on the closed loop supply chain network design. So, in the closed loop perspective, we have see here from the earlier we have in the simple supply chain network. So, now here we have adding the 3 centers. One is the collection centers, scratch waste, and the recycling centers. So, now at the end of the products we try to collect through the collector center. So, we have created here 2 types of collector center 1 and collector center 2. Now, these collector centers we go to the recycling center, and again among the 5 types of suppliers, only 3 types of supplier are providing the these recycling materials, supplier 2, 3 and 4, and still supplier 1 and supplier 4 are the fresh raw material we have used here. So, during the production of the aluminum containers, we have produced also the scratch waste. So, that scratch waste is also going for the recycling center, and then it again converted for the raw materials. So, these are our structures for the closed loop perspective. For the simply way, we can also define the closed loop supply chains with. So, first we start from the raw materials, and again go to the suppliers, multiple suppliers, single manufacturers, multiple distributor, multiple retailer, multiple customers, and multiple customer collection points, and then go to the recycling center. So, these are the our with perspective of closed loop supply chains we can explain our product. Now, now we try to our product with respect to manufacturing system frameworks. So, now we converted the inputs as the process, any process have a 3 stages like a input, process and output. So, as an input we have considered here the infrastructures, because this is the beginning phase of our company. Machineries, those machineries are basically are purchased from the Havra, West Bengal, and the raw materials basically purchased from the Gujarats, human resources, energies, and the other utility. So, here we have used the types of press, the electric press. So, here the energy consumption is more. Now, we are talking about the process. So, production planning we have uses for that, procurement of materials, manufacturing, logistics and sales, these are the process. So, now we in terms of the sustainability perspective we talking about the outputs is the economical performance, environmental performance and social performance. So, in terms of the economic performance, the inventory management, capacity utilization, turnover, production cost, logistic cost and business growth. In terms of the environmental performance, CO2 emission, energy consumptions, production waste, waste recycle and resource efficiency. In talking about in terms of social performance, so we are trying to skill developments, visit of the students, of the local students, health and safety of the employee. In the equality, we have also trying to maintain the gender and female ratio here in the company, and we trying to new job creations. Now, we are talking about the supply chain performance with respect to supply chains. So, we all know the supply chains be classified into the three way. One is the demand sides and the middle one is the internal operation and in the supply sides. So, now we have classified these three phases with respect to the sustainability perspective. So, economical, operational, environmental and social. So, as a economical perspective, for the demand we try to maximize the profit and the growth of the business. With respect to the internal operation, we try to infrastructures, manpowers and we try to for the supply perspective, supply base and infrastructures. With respect to the operations for the demands, we trying to demand forecasting, logistic optimizations. With respect to the internal operations, business process, capacity utilization, inventory managements. With respect to the supply, we try to CRM practices and effectiveness of logistic optimization. Similarly, we for the environmental perspective, for the demand side we try to environment friendly products, and for the environment management system, energy consumption, less energy consumption and less emission of energy. And similarly, for the social perspective, we try to as a demand customers, so demand working with the customer for the social friendly approach, CSR approaches, practices and effectiveness, occupational health and safety, and with respect to supply, working with supplier for social and friendly approach. Now, we try to the frameworks with respect to the circular economy. So, what happens the evolutions of the supply chains, the beginning we have only the forward supply chain management. So, simply we can say the supply chain management. Now, we come on the supply chain sustainability supply chain management with respect to sustainability, and now we forward on the circular economy supply chain. So, circular economy, earlier circular economy is what called the linear economy. So, linear economy only talking about the take, make and use, but we talk about the with respect to the circular economy. So, it now again classified into the 5 way with the cyclic way. So, now the take, make, distribute, use and recovers. So, basically in the in context of my products, so we try to for the take as a supplier selections, inbound logistics, for the make eco-friendly, lean practices, energy consumption and employee willingness and equality. With respect to the distribution, we try for the outbound distribution. Earlier we have also told that we have basically focused on outbound logistic and transportation, because our product is a daily consumption products and there are multiple stages in the downstream supply chains. For the use, we have CSR as a perspective, we try for the as a use of to local students visit of our institution, our factory. And for the recovery perspective, we try for the recycle and reverse logistic, because the product we have used is recyclable. So, we have used here recycle. Thank you. Thank you.
Start. Good afternoon, all of you. Myself, Dr. Randir Kumar, Assistant Professor in BIT Mishra off campus Deoghar in Production Engineering Department. We present a project topic on sustainability of wooden furniture industry. Wooden is a natural product. It is utilized in carpentry shops, different manufacturing products like construction industry. Any industry has required wooden carpentry pieces, wooden materials. So, we have chosen wooden industries. This is particularly chosen as a specific area in Kolkata, West Bengal. Its business location is Kolkata, West Bengal. Its company has turnover rupees 8 lakh to 15 lakhs. Major products is wooden furniture. Number of employees about 30, and customers, its customer is located as well nearby the Kolkata and West Bengals. So, we can try to correlate with supply chain management. So, first raw material is coming out from the different cities of the nearby Kolkatas like Uttar Pradesh, Assam and some outside India like China. It's in the carpentry shop different types of use are used in raw materials of different qualities and others materials is also used like nails for finishing products, leathers, glues for assembly or sticking the product, fevicol like fevicols, paints and many more raw materials is required for that plants. So, this raw materials has coming from different state and different cities to come here to our wooden manufacturing plants. So, some logistic transportation will be needed and the raw materials products is required to inventory controls, logistics, and it can be finished by different processing units like machining, sewing, cutting and different products designing is required. First raw materials comes to our plants in inventory sections, then it goes to manufacturing plants, and manufacturing plants goes to different designs, processing units to different products is converted into that plant, and then it goes to inventory like inventory of the plant and supplier of the different distributors, retailers and different customers to be go. So, mainly issue and challenges for this carpentry plants is supply needs, customer requirement, quality of raw materials. It needs internal operation like labor operation, inventory, communication skills. Demand side, mainly lead times is very important, quality of niche product and after sale service is very important for finished product. We correlate to competitive strategy and supply chain strategy. Mainly competitive strategy is customer needs, customer requirement, variety of specification under predictable demand after sales services. Supply chain strategy needs to maintain big inventory, inbound and outbound transportation, pricing information and sourcing. Basic step to achieving strategy fit is understanding the demand of wooden furniture buyers and identify the extent of unpredictability of demand and distribution. Understanding the customer and supply chain uncertainty and mapping the supply chain into implied uncertainty demand. Understanding the competitive strategy and supply chain strategy and mapping the supply chain and responsive spectrum. Determining the degree of consistency of supply chain responsive with implied uncertainty. My wooden furniture manufacturing industry strategy fit is number 1, supplier, manufacturer and retailers. Sustainable supply chain performance, it is the process of framework like input, process, outputs. Inputs in infrastructure, machinery, equipments, raw materials, human resources, energy, other utilities. Like infrastructure and raw materials, we can it is supplied from different cities to that plant, and use of human resources and labor are required in these industries for processing, and transportation, logistics and etc. Energy is also used in these industries like running of machineries and other utilities is also needed. Design process, in the process planning section, design is specific for different products. Different products is needed. For designing and manufacturing, planning is also needed, procurement is also needed, manufacturing is also needed, and logistics, sales and marketing is also needed in this supply chain performance analysis. In the output section, it is economical performance, environmental performance and social performance aspect. Economical performance aspect in the sense of company is going to be profit, make money, and environmental performance in the terms of it not hazard the environment and other specific areas of locations. And social aspects, it gives the lots of employment of the nearby plant is situated. We correlate it is also a green green manufacturing. So it is try to correlate the circular economy like recycling design manufacturing, retailerize, consumer and reuse and recycling. A circular economy, that's take, make, distribute and use and recover. So we can try to make a plant like take raw materials from different units, different places and make a useful product and distribute it customer or consumers that can use the product, and then the waste is recovered, then it come back to recycle units, or it makes to another like pellets, like wooden pellets and polywoods would be make, and then it can be, it goes as a raw materials for processing next product, new product. So, we can try to correlate its projects to the supply chain management with circular economy. Thank you, sir.
Okay.